Okay.
Body's turn.
Body's turn.
Paragraph 8.
Okay, the body, innocent of goals, is your excuse for variable goals you hold and force the body to maintain. You do not fear its weakness, but its lack of strength or weakness. Did I read that right? You do not fear its weakness, but its lack of strength or weakness.
It's neutrality, in other words.
Would you know that nothing stands between you and your brother? Would you know there is no gap behind which you can hide? There's a shock that comes to those who learn their Savior is their enemy no more. There is a weariness that is aroused by learning that the body is not real. And there are overtones of seeming fear around the happy message, God is love. Wow. That's, you do not fear its weakness, but its lack of strength or weakness.
Well, that's because our body's nothing. So when we're in our ego mind, so we want our body to be weak because it proves to us we're not the Son of God. So what we are really afraid of is the fact the body doesn't say anything. It's not strong, it's not weak, it's nothing. That would mean we're not a body, you see. That would mean we're not an ego. And see, when we're trying to serve our ego, no, this is when we're serving our ego. That's frightening because this is our reality. Don't touch it. This is me. This is why we have to understand is we made up a little identity. We have our little identity, our little ego identity, and now we are invested in maintaining it as a reality. And we're afraid to let it go because it seems like if that goes, there's going to be nothing left. So even though we're moving toward this goal of this other self, we're reading about it, we still have this attachment to our own baby, ourselves as we've made ourselves. And so it's a frightening thought. And it's in the Bible, it's talked about as you have to lose, I think, anyway, that phrase where it says you have to lose your life to gain your life,
Yeah.
is really saying you have to lose your attachment to this made-up identity to claim your real identity. But in the process, you have to understand, just like anything, any insane person is going to be attached to what it thinks is its safety. So that's why we will do these relationships and be in love with hate, because hate maintains the separate identity that I spent all this time making. And we have bells ringing everywhere. Is that yours? What is it? It's Bonnie's phone? Oh, okay. Someone's trying to get a hold of us.
Did I hear right that the body is basically nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we think it does all kinds of stuff, but we have given it its desires. Our mind. The body is completely just a neutral thing. It does whatever we tell it to do. So it isn't our body that's our problem. And that's what he's trying to get us out of the idea, because a lot of spiritual teachings and just kind of intuitively, it seems like our body is our problem. And so we have to deny it, so that people try to hurt it. They try to, what is it called when you deny your body?
Flagellate.
Yeah, flagellate. And then they do this stuff in the East where they don't feed it, and they sit in the...
Deprivation.
Yeah, deprivation. They're trying to get out of the body by punishing it as if it was the cause. But it's our identification with the body as who we are that's the problem. The body's just a tool, basically, that can be used for whatever purpose we assign. Like he says, it's a holy thing when you've assigned it to the holy purpose of awakening and doing your part. It's kind of neutral. We don't have to attack it. We don't have to feel guilty about it. We don't have to do anything with it, but set it on the course of healing rather than on the course of attack, and we'll be fine. So that's what he's trying to say. But as long as you are not understanding that you have this desire to be separate and be this body that you've made yourself to be, you have a certain attachment and protectiveness to it. So we have to use these mind training to get out of this idea that I need to protect this little me. Because as long as we are protecting it, we're denying ourselves the big us, the us we really are as we were created. Our allegiance is to this other one. And that's what makes us do the crazy stuff. Whenever you're in a diseased state of mind, it's because you've decided to serve the little you. You would never get there or even have an experience of it if you were in your right mind. You always, oh, okay, I did it again. I'm serving some idea of me, some idol I'm worshiping, some idea of what I have to have or who I am. And now I'm in distress because I'm trying to protect something that isn't real. And I'm using the tools of the ego, which are attack and hatred and separation, and that's frightening me. So,
Roger.
okay.
Yet all that happens when the gap is gone is peace eternal. Nothing more than that and nothing less. Without the fear of God, what could induce you to abandon him? What toys or trinkets in the gap could serve to hold you back an instant from his love? Would you allow the body to say no to heaven's calling? Were you not afraid to find a loss of self in finding God? And can yourself be lost by being found?
Yeah, that's
I
exactly
once was lost, but now
I'm
I'm
found,
found.
right. So we just have to understand that our ego identity and its creation or its makeup of who we are is afraid of God because, in essence, that's got to go for us to remember who we are. So if you've got this idea, this is where my happiness is, and you're afraid of God because it means this has got to go. I got to lose this to gain that. And that feels like a sacrifice when you think this is little self is going to make you happy. And so that's our whole inner struggle because we've got this idea we want to go here, but we've got this investment in what we've made. And it feels like a sacrifice to give it up. It feels like a sacrifice. It's just like in an exchange. It feels like a sacrifice to consider what you want over what I want. So we have a separate situation where, okay, well, I'm going to go away and find a way to get what I want, manipulate you or find some little trick to get it because I got to have what I want. I'm convinced.
And our perception of sacrifice makes us a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And when we drop the perception, there is no sacrifice and we're not a victim.
So, but he's got to convince us that we want to let this thing go. And he's doing a good job. Can yourself be lost by being found?